Hello, everybody. Glad you could join us for episode number 34 of the Launch and Beyond podcast, a podcast designed to support you not only achieving great success in your business, but also in all other areas of life as well. Now, imagine you're traveling along in life, 100% focused on achieving your lifelong goal of being a professional athlete. All the hours of discipline, training, sacrifice, blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into this trade. And in an instant, it's all gone. Your previous life and the identity of who you knew yourself as to be in that moment is never going to be the same again. So what does this do to you? How do you make sense of it? Does this unravel you and set you on a downward spiral? Or do you use this as a learning from such a hard setback to redefine yourself and how you're going to live your life from this moment on? Our very special guest this week is Sal Frisella. Sal is the president of First Form, an established leading muscle and nutritional supplements brand based in St. Louis in America. In this episode, Sal takes us on his personal journey and discusses with us some of the lessons he's learned from some of his most life-defining moments and how he's used them not only help to define his own level of success, but also personal fulfillment as well. We hope you enjoy it. All right, really looking forward to our podcast episode this morning, Adam. We have a very special guest from the US and really looking forward to checking in with Sal. So first of all, welcome, Sal. Great to have you on our podcast.
What's going on, fellas? I appreciate you having me.
We're so super pumped. If the pre-chat prior to the recording was any indication to go by, this could go anywhere, and it's really exciting that it has. So yeah, really excited to have you in here. So just before we officially get you started, Adam and I just check in with each other, a really brief little, how's your week, that kind of stuff. And we'd love to extend that invitation to you as well afterwards if you're so keen, and then we can get into the podcast. Is that cool?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
So you want me to go now? You want me to tell you about
what? Let you do it. You start. Why not? You start, and then we'll talk about us.
And I'll tell you about my week. I'm sitting there, it's Friday night, we're in the States, and I'm sitting there thinking, man, I'm going to go home. I'm going to drink a really big beer tonight. Tonight I'm going to get after it.
So Jim and I are both on 75 hard, and we both cannot drink a big beer anytime soon. So heavily jealous.
Yeah, tonight is beer 30, that's for sure.
Good for you. Good for you.
It's, listen, life, and as we were talking about on the prelude, life's a little different right now, and I think that's the beauty of life, right? It's ever changing, and right now is no different, just because we're all dealing in different times with COVID-19, and it's interesting to see the different perspectives of the world. We're trying to, our rules or laws are not as strict as maybe you guys have it over there, and so we're trying to navigate the waters of business, right? And stay online, and so every day we get a new little challenge. Every day we get a new little kind of speed bump to go over or a tree to work around. So yeah, man, we're just trying to stay online and have fun and try to make the most of every single day. So that's where I'm at.
Perfect.
Well, you just covered it there quickly, Sal. In Australia, the Financial Review, like our business paper, has come out and said that there was more small businesses insured this year than in previous years. So the starting up entrepreneur has like really sort of shot up in this lockdown procedures for Australia. So it's been pretty cool how people have been flexible. And again, with Jim and I, we've been flexible and trying to get as many Zoom interviews in while we can't be in studio together. So it's just been fun to be, changing and pivoting our points.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of humans, right? Like, you realize like there's two types of people. There's types of people who will just fall in line and lock down, and I'm just going to hunker in. Yeah. And then there's what I would like to think of as us, right? Where it's like, man, I can't sit at home. That's too fucking hard. Two, like, I gotta make, like, I'm designed to try to conquer the challenge no matter what it is. You get locked down, and at first, I think like everybody, at first you get extremely nervous, you're scared, you got all these things, and then you realize like it's time to fight. Like, we're gonna go fight. I'm going to war, and although we're not at war in that sense, although there's parts of me that think differently with issues, et cetera. But you got to overcome the challenge. And I think that's the beauty of life in general, is like understanding that it's going to continue to serve you challenges in your job. And I think the successful people, they just continue to step up to those challenges. And, and this is certainly one that's been a little different in the grand scheme of things. But, technology has allowed us to do unbelievable things. Example, Zoom. and you can talk to and meet new friends all over the world. And I think, the ones who want to connect, we've made it happen. We've figured out how to continue to make things happen. And so although we get served a little shit sandwich, if you will, I've tried, just like you guys, to try to make the best of it and try to make every minute still count, because I know 2020 hasn't been the most pleasant year in the grand scheme of social interactions, sports, events. However, I'm just not one of those people. I'm going to sit by and let it happen. I'm going to go get some. Yeah,
I totally get that. So, you know what? My gut says let's just don't worry about what.
Sorry, I didn't check into you, Jim. Sorry.
No, that's cool. No, like that's fine. You know what? I just it's improvising. We're in the moment. So, just something you said, Sal, that really pricked my ears up. When you talk about the shit sandwich, I get it. The challenge that I have is when someone's trying to convince me that it's actually really good, and I'm just going, no, man, it's a shit sandwich. I don't want to eat this. But it's like, no. So it's the socialization that's actually trying to convince you that it's actually really good for you. I'm like, no, that rebelliousness in me just comes up. So,
well, I think that's an interesting point, right? Because we are designed to be free thinkers.
Yeah.
And when an agenda is getting pushed in, it's really difficult, and I like to think, I don't want to say I'm the smartest guy in the world by any means, but I can certainly add 1 + 1, right? And so, I try to didact the information and make the best decision for me. And I think the issue that we have as being free thinkers, like, you're going to put us in this situation. Well, it's my life. It's my opportunity. I want to make the best decision for me. And when you get told you can't do that, it's a little frustrating.
Yeah.
I think the most frustrating thing for me is that we think that we were in a free country, and then all of a sudden, like 2 seconds later, we're just stripped with all of that crap. So, and now we're locked in our houses, and our business is essential only, and all this stuff. So it just tripped us out.
No, awesome. So whenever you go to class in school and the teacher says, okay, let's start show and tell before we start the body of the class. I just feel like we just jumped into the podcast. So I want to just, if I can just for a moment, just back up a little bit. So for some of our listeners who may not know you specifically, could you tell us a little bit about the Sal Frisella story and, what it's gotten, or how you've gotten to the point you are today?
Yeah, of course. My name's Sal Frisella, and I just a regular kid. I grew up on a gravel road, and went to public school for most of my life. And I was an athlete growing up. Always competed in sport, no matter what I did. It was football, baseball, basketball, hockey. It doesn't matter. Like I'm competitive in nature, no matter what it is. If it's I don't care what it is. I want to compete. And I think that was, I was fortunate enough to be, to have a competitive dad who taught my brother and I, that life's a competition, you should play. And, I went to college, played baseball, and got drafted, played a little professional baseball for a quick minute. Had an injury there, broke my leg at a collision at home plate, changed my you always think like you're going to be like the next, in our world, right? Baseball is like America's sport, America's game. And, you think you're going to be like the top guy in the game and, have all the hot ladies and do the whole thing. And, life changes, right? It changes for you. And I wasn't good enough. That's the truth. And, from there, I started my journey in life, right? The real ticket. I started selling copier machines and scanners and fax machines. And then I went into med device, and I started selling medical devices. I sold like glue for your skin and sutures and then hernia mesh. And I kind of progressed through. And then I had an opportunity to go into business with my brother and my other brother. There's 3 of us. And they had a cool little supplement store thing going on here in the States, and they were doing well, and they wanted to start a brand, and I was doing well at the time. And so we decided to start a sports nutrition company. And, it's just like anything that's new, right? You step in, you're young, you think you can dominate everything. And again, life and through the trials and tribulations, we've done our best to try to develop what we think is a great brand. It's built around, helping people deliver results, which is helping change their lives. We're recently distributed in Australia, which is a big move for us. And
so excited when that happened.
Yeah, me too. That was a year in the making. Like
long time coming.
Yeah. And, so, I mean, the business side of us, we've been, we just a couple of fat kids on a journey to go help people change their lives. And, through that process, we've built a little brand on social media, and, we've tried to impact the world, whether it's through entrepreneurial leadership, whether it's just leadership in general, sports nutrition. We firmly believe at the core, like as a company, our job's to leave the world a better place than we found it. And we just chose nutrition as one of those avenues because, being fat kids, it has allowed us the opportunity to speak to other people who struggle with weight as well. And, it's kind of like, it's hard to preach that journey to somebody if you haven't gone through it yourself. And, being somebody who has struggled with weight my entire life, being able to express that knowledge and experience that we've had to go through ourselves, being able to give that to somebody and watch them change their lives is one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Although, it wasn't always, it's not always sunshine and rainbows, and sometimes life gets a little tough. I'm extremely proud of what we've built here because, we've helped, hundreds of thousands of people at this point change their lives. And it makes me feel good because at the end of the day, like my goal, is to leave this world a better place than we found it, right? And then to have to build a true legacy. And I'm one of those people like, I know I'm going to die at some point in time, but I really want my legacy to matter. And maybe it's narcissistic or arrogant by nature, but, I want my kids to be proud of their dad. And I want to know that when I leave this world, I gave it hell. I competed, and part of that's to make my dad proud. And part of that's to be a good father so I can make my kids proud. Right. And somewhere along that line, I'd like to think I got a pretty good marriage. I got a hot wife, who's good to me. So life's been good, man. I'm very blessed, and I appreciate you guys asking.
I just wanted to say, from a fellow fat boy, you went into nutrition, supplements, and selling and manufacturing. I went into the cake side. I want to enhance that fat boy. I like leaning into. I still try and be healthy, but we lean into some of that over here.
They tell you that an alcoholic should not own a bar.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's something that you said, and there's, a lot of what you've just said before, I really want to come back to throughout the podcast episode, because there's some phenomenal themes that you talk about. You talk about impact, and you talk about legacy, all massive topics, right? And I really want to unpackage as we're going along. But something that you said that really triggered off something that I've always understood about business in terms of fulfillment and impact is that if you find an area of your own life that you need support or help in, and you find a solution, and by offering that solution to other people every day, you're helping them, but by bigger extension, you're helping yourself. So you actually get success and fulfillment at the same time. And basically what you've articulated, you actually, that's why there's fulfillment in that, because you're helping people, but in the grander, bigger scheme of things, you're actually having a bigger impact on your own psyche as well. And that's why you feel good about what's been done.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of truth to that, right? And I always tell people, like I try to teach my team all the time, like helping people should be like, when you find what your why is, there's actually there's a very narcissistic thing to it, right? It's like, you got to understand, if you want people to help you or care about you, you have to help them first. And so the end game for me is to make sure that I'm doing what I want to do, which is help people change their lives. Yeah. And then in return, they'll make me part of my legacy, right? They'll go speak. Like, that means I got to impact them first. Okay. So how do I do that? I can only help them through the knowledge that I have in my brain. And we have a thing here that we talk about. Selling is a 1, 2, 3 process. It's educate, trust, loyalty. Yep. Well, in order to educate them, you have to have that experience and that knowledge base to be able to give it to them. And, we always tell people all the time, like we sell protein powders and vitamins and greens and all these great things. And we believe that we make the best in the industry. But what I really give you is an education and experience so that I can actually help you get to where you want to go. And, that impact, because people value education. It's a non-tangible item. They value the education when it's true. Yeah. And if I can deliver the truth, and we can deliver the truth, and I can help you change your life, the trick is then you'll make yours about me, right? Then I matter to you. And then I'm part of your story. I'm part of your journey. I'm part of the impact to your life. Yeah. And now everybody wins in that situation because I'm impacting your life, but you remember me, I'm part of the legacy. So there's a very narcissistic chain driven when you truly help somebody. And it's okay to make it a little bit about you. But if you want to make it about you, you got to give it to them first.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, I just wanted to jump in quickly, Jim.
Yeah.
For people who don't know Sal, he's quite humble. He's on one of the biggest podcasts in the world.
Yeah.
So he's part of the Real AF podcast and turned up many times to MF CEO. So if you want to get, I know we'll plug him later on, but if you want to get more about him, he's on the Real AF. And some of the lessons that he's taught me on that, and talking about teaching and pushing it forward, some of the lessons he's taught me on that has been critical for the startup of my business, going from a little local bakery into like full-time manufacturing facility. And he's on the other side of the world, you know, it's 4 p.m. over there, it's 7 a.m. over here. And he might not know me from a bar of soap, but he's impacted me so much that it's been amazing. And his brother as well, Andy. Both of them have done so much. Sorry, I just wanted to jump in because he's really humble. He doesn't want to. He doesn't seem to want to talk it up as much as he should.
And just on that too, because Sal, you did say that we've got this little company and this little social media presence. Well, I agree that this company you're talking about is First Form, which is, as you said, an established leading muscle nutritional brand in the US. And as Adam said, the podcast and the extension and the reach you have is huge, and the ripple effects of that are felt not only in your own native country but throughout the world. So that's awesome. I'd really love if you could, Sal. You've talked about the process of all the roles that you've had within First Form, and I'd love you to be able to talk about the process and who you needed to become to transition through all those stages and levels. So I guess humility is one of the first things that we hear in terms of humble enough to go, man, I'm going to sweep whatever is required. But how does someone, or how did you specifically go from that place to now having an influence over so many people in your organization?
Well, I think, leadership comes with a price. And a lot of people just want to be at the top. It's like you dream your whole life. Like, I just want to have the big office and the big window and drive the big fancy car. And that's great. But a lot of people don't understand that, the journey is really where you learn to respect the process, and you learn to understand kind of what it's meant to be. And what I mean by that is, the reason that we have such a great culture at First Form is because, like, there's not a job too small that I won't do. And I can say that for my brother. I say that for our leadership staff in general. All of our guys and girls are bred through the system and understanding that, how you do anything is how you do everything. And the small things are really the indicating factors of the humility, if you will, of understanding, like, am I too good for that or am I not? And, I'll go out and grab a room and, sweep with the guys in the back of the warehouse. I'll pack boxes. I'll write notes. And I do it intentionally to let them know, like, hey, just because I sit down there in that big old office doesn't mean that, again, comes back to competing. Like, I'll come back here. I can still write a note. I can still pack a box. I can still sweep this floor. And I'm likely going to do it better than you. But I think, in that development process, our leadership understands that that's a really key integral part to maintaining glue within our culture. And so when you walk outside and, and there's a piece of trash on the ground, like, if you walk on our campus is almost spotless. And it's because our crew understands the importance of image and why that's important to who we are. But it's awesome. Like, when we go to dinner, I have a pretty good network of people in town, and, and we got about, a couple hundred employees here. So, like, when they go out into town and anything happens, they call Dad, right? They refer to me as Dad a little bit. Yeah. And it's cool because I always get the good messages, like, I can't believe how respectful your people are. And I can't believe, my guys will sweep they'll be in a restaurant sweeping the bathroom because because something happened. Right. And so, like, they're just that culture that we ingrained through hard work and understanding that the little details matter has helped us spawn into great leadership, a great culture by great leaders. And I know that it's easy to overlook the small things, but the small things are what make the big things tick. And it makes, our ability to hire people, because there's such a good culture here. I gave a tour in our new facility. I haven't, in the front side of the house, which is about half and half. We got about 100 on this side, 100 on that side. And the 100 on the back side, they're all our new people, and they're learning to back orders and write notes. but I haven't lost one employee on the front side in over a year. Like not one. Like we don't lose them. And it's because they believe in our mission. They believe in who we are. They believe in the process. And you know what? They're around people who make them better. And that's our culture, man. It's a cyclical culture, and understanding that like people love it here because we are good people, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But you also build that loyalty, not just through your staff, through your customer base. Like when I got a package from you guys, I got handwritten notes from 2 people that referred to my Instagram. They checked out stuff about me first, wrote the note. It was really nice because it was really personalized, and then they sent out the products. So it made me feel part of the team. And actually, Jim is one of the other people who actually sent out a handwritten note when I started coaching with him 2 years ago. And it's really funny that, you know, to see where both of you are at in life. You might not know much about the 2 of us, but where you both are in life is directly proportionate to what you give out in life. And that's what I find is a byproduct of you constantly wanting to give and push your legacy and wanting to impact people in a positive way.
Yeah, love it. So,
yeah, keep going.
I was just going to say, so if we could just just basically some bullet points there. So what I'm understanding, Sal, correct me if I'm wrong, is obviously the way to sustain great culture is, number one, people have got buy-in. So you've effectively found a strategy and a way to engage them into your story, your brand, your ethos, your integrity. So effectively, you've captured their hearts and minds, not rather than just their hands and feet, so to speak. So because people, if you engage their hands and feet, they'll do the job, but they haven't got buy-in. So what you're saying is, by virtue of, I guess, you saying, okay, I'm part of this team no matter what, we're invested, we're all in. You've got their hearts and minds as well, so that helps raise your standard and culture across the platform.
Well, I think yes, to answer your question, but I think something that's you know, I don't want to be missed is, you know, as technology steps into the way of life, and you can double click your way through Instagram, and you can, you know, shoot somebody a quick DM, you know, this is the value of a thank you card, right? That personal, that interpersonal connection. But like, and I talk about this all the time, and I think this is why, you know, I always believe everything happens for a reason in my brain. And so I believe I was meant to do what it is that we do here, because, you know, I genuinely care about people. And that's what I've learned is, you know, as an employer, you know, like my guys and girls, they know, like, I love those kids. I refer to them as my kids. I don't like them. I love them. I'm invested in them. I will coach them. I will pick them up. I'll bail them out of jail. I'll loan them money. They've lived in my house. Like, I've been through the whole gamut of all the ranks with them, because I believe in our network, and I believe in our core. And I believe that, you know, in order to get to the top, you're going to go through struggle, and you're not just going to go through struggle one time. You know, you're going to go through it multiple times, and those are all good lessons, and you got to be there together. You got to grow with each other. And that's why, you know, we believe in working out together. We believe in competing. Like, we have a basketball court here. We'll play basketball together. We compete. We have tournaments, you know, and understanding that, like, we are in this thing together. And I know that they know that I care about them. And the best part that happens every single day when I walk in this building is I know that they care about me. And that's a team that you want to be on. Nobody wants to get valued like, oh, that's my boss. You know, I'm not the boss. I'm like, I'm now, I can be their friend. I'll also crack them if I have to, but there's a respect level there that they know that I'm investing in them as humans, not as employees. Yeah.
No, that's beautiful. I really, really, really enjoyed that addition on top of that. So that's really cool. So obviously you just by backstory, you've worked in a large multinational company, as you said, before you came and joined First Form. And so there was a lot of security, I guess, quote unquote, that comes with that. So, you know, how does someone, because there's a particular type of person who turns their back on that and walks away from a security of that to, you know, to the so-called lack of security in a startup or a business in there. So can you talk a little bit about who you needed to be and what you needed to sort of cycle through to go from one form of life to another?
Yeah, for me, you know, looking back, I said, it was easy. It was easy. It was fucking the most difficult decision I've ever made in my entire life. And if I have to apologize, that's probably not the last F-bomb I'll drop through the system. But
just be yourself. Just be yourself, Sal. That's what we want.
All right. I try to tame the F-bomb.
No, go for it. Don't censor yourself.
I've been teaching these leadership classes on, like college professors call me and I'll go in high school professors and I'll talk about leadership. And these motherfuckers but, it is the easiest decision looking back. However, making that decision at the time, it was tough. And I've learned through life that usually the tough decision is the hard decision, right? The hard conversation is usually the right conversation you have to have. And so I've learned over time and this was kind of like my first decision. And I'd never really quit anything in my life. Yeah, ever. Like my dad would never let me. And I remember, and I was doing well. I was one of the top salesmen at Johnson & Johnson, the baby company. And I'd gone in and out from being rep of the year to top earner of the year. And I made a really good living. I was 26 years old the first time I made $300,000. I was 27 years old the first time I made $400,000. I was 28 years old. I made $365,000, right? So and I had a company car and I, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying that to be a douchebag. I'm saying it like my friends, I remember telling them I was going to leave and they're like, why in the fuck would you leave? Well, and I knew this because I have the gift of gab. Like I understand you can put me in any situation. You can put me in a strip club, nightclub, business room, board meeting. It doesn't matter. And I can jingle. But what I realized is I enjoyed people and I really didn't mind what I do or what I did at the time. It's that I wanted more. And I knew that I wanted more. And, I was turning a leaf to understand that okay, I could be successful. I'm pretty confident I can do this game, but I don't love this game. I enjoy it because I was making money, but I didn't you kind of put this prize on money and you're like, oh, once I make this much money, I'm going to be happy. Yeah. And I was like, and I made that much money. I was young, man. I fucking had more money. You could do whatever, fucking 28 years old and whatever. So, but I wasn't receiving that. And I thought, well, that's wrong. There's something wrong there. And, and I'm not a risk taker, but I like to go against the odds, if you will. And, Andrew and Chris, my brother and his business partner at the time, they had First Form had just got started and it was like brand new little, 3 or 4 SKUs. And, and they presented this business plan that they had come up with. We have this idea and we're going to, take this thing across the country and, we could do this, this, and this. And I was like, we could do this, and Andrew and Chris and I have been together for a long time. I was telling a story. We've been together for 25 years now. We all played high school football together. Andrew and Chris were best friends in high school. So, we've been in through shit together. And so, I trusted these two with my life and, and I had a gift and they had a gift and we merged those gifts. Right. And so that was it, man. And I was like, I remember I just met my wife now at the time. And there was only 5 people who didn't think I was crazy, and I don't blame them for thinking I'm crazy because that's not a comfort zone that most people go into. But what I realized is if I tried and I failed, I could come back and do this and I would be okay. But if I didn't try, I would always think in the back of my mind, well, what the fuck, what happened? I did a story about this today. I was talking about regret, you should live life with the least regret possible. And, I played the sport of baseball growing up, and if you're successful 30% of the time, you're a Hall of Famer. So I was fully prepared to fail. I'm not afraid to fall on my face, but I knew, I knew we could win. I just didn't know how we would win. And I think the 3 of us together, we have a good 1, 2, 3 punch in understanding each other's strengths and weaknesses. And we play to those strengths and weaknesses. And we didn't turn the button on and we started making millions of dollars. We sold the first year, we sold, I don't know, 1.5 million or something. Then the next year we sold 3 million. Then the next year we sold 10 million. We're like, oh shit. All right. We could maybe do this thing. And then, I think by year 5 we were selling 20 million bucks and it was like, all right. Yeah. And then it was 75 and then it was, 110 and then it was 150 and then it's, and we're like, all right, I think we got a little jive going here. And all the while, we were building out our systems, we were building out our culture. And that's the cool thing about our guys and girls here is, the good core majority of us, we've been through the struggle together. They understand the system. This is not some system that, where I was at Johnson & Johnson, where it had been, built over 50 years. And this is what you go work into. My guys have been through the the sticks and the weeds and mud and the shit. And they've been there with me, and, you know, and we've won together. And I think, you know, was the decision scary? Absolutely. But I can tell you the decisions that are most scary have the most reward, and that'll never change, because if it doesn't scare the shit out of you, I don't do it.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. And that's really, it's basically, for a lot of times we say, sometimes you got to let go of the good to go for the great, purely because it fulfills you at another level. And it's that voice in your head that says, you know what, this could be, but what are you letting go of in order to settle? You know, and that's that voice that just doesn't let you basically just carry on. Even when you go against the herd of what everybody else considers as sane, you just know that's your truth, right?
Yeah, and you know what's interesting about that is I have learned that most of the time when everybody else goes left, I go right.
Yeah,
you know, everybody right now, everybody hops on the COVID train. I'm like, all right, well, 40 people going left, I'm gonna go right. You know, and what's interesting about that is, you know, like, it's a really great story for me to say, oh, well, what I do for a living, you know, fulfills my heart and soul and like my mind. Like, that's a great story now. But when I was younger, I didn't realize that benefit that I was going to receive, because that's when I was 28, I was thinking, man, I got to go fucking kick ass and take names. Right.
Yeah.
What I learned through the process is that I have a unique skill, which is the gift of people. And we united through the uncomfortable in your own skin. You know, I have everybody, this blows people's mind. Like, I have a severe body dysmorphia image. Like, I've never seen myself as in good shape ever in my whole life. And I can get in front of 10,000 people and I can get on stage and I can tell, you know, like, I can tell that story and I speak fat and I can connect to people. When I was 28, I never, you know, I wouldn't tell that to somebody. So I developed that skill over time in understanding that I really love the process. Yeah. Had I not taken that jump, I never would have known what my true calling was. And so, you know, I've learned to address the afraid piece of my brain head on, and it's really paid dividends in the big picture.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So just on that, let's, if we may, because I guess the real body, there's some critical moments that you have spoken about, life-defining moments, just in reading through your posts. And I was really moved by, you know, you talked about your baseball story in your social media post a little while ago. And that really, I think that's the one, of all the posts that you had, that's the one that really made me sit up and take notice. Why? It's not so much of the prestige of the path you were on, but how you could change the meaning of that. So specifically, so if it's okay, you know, I'd like to take you back to the time where, you know, like you said, things were tracking really well. You were committed, you were focused on a professional athlete path, and in an instant, as you said, life changed.
Yeah.
And what, and I'd really love you to be able to expand on that and tell us a little bit about that, and more specifically, how you turned something that was just potentially shattering to use it as a means of just not only adapting and pivoting, but looking for the gift in that experience to take your life to the next stage and level.
Yeah, I think, you know, perspective is a skill you can only develop through trials and tribulation and time, right? And understand it can take time to see what happened. And I think that's really what I mean when I talk about legacy or experience or leadership. Like, I try to express my faults and my struggles as well as I can to my team or to my, you know, my audience, if you will, so that hopefully I can connect to them through their struggles. And that's like my goal with social media or Instagram. I'm getting ready to drop my blog and go through these things. And that moment for me, because you got to think, like, I had spent 100,000 hours practicing baseball, minimum, you know, and from the time I was 6 years old to the time I was 25 years old, all I knew was baseball. Like, I was identified as a baseball player. I played in high school, played Division I, which is the highest level of college baseball here. Actually, my best friend's from Perth. He was an Aussie bum model. His name's Toby Barnett. He's one handsome motherfucker. And you know, and then I had the ability to get drafted, and I played in the St. Louis Cardinal organization, and I was identified as a bit like I was going, like, in my brain, like I was going to the big leagues. That's what's happening. And you know, for those of you who don't know, and you can link it or whatever, you know, I was playing one night, collision at home plate, broke my leg, snapped it in half. And that was the last game I played.
But what was admirable about that was you crawled back to home plate to touch it. You didn't just go, oh, my leg's broken and, you know, I'm done. You crawled back and touched home plate. You got to get that run in.
Yeah, I think that goes back to my competitive nature. My guys know that. Like, if I'm playing against you, you are going to know that I'm out there. That I promise you.
Yeah. Sal, just before you carry it, wait a minute. That part, there's two stories to that, right? Is I could see, watching that post, I could see, as Adam said, the competitive nature of you hitting play, onto the plate. I could see that. What I'm really interested in is the next thought, right? Because that first, that's the drive that gets you there, and you go that's all your conditioning. But the next point, the moment you went, right, I've hit a hand on the plate, holy shit, what comes next? That's the part that I'm really curious and interested in terms of where you went from that place.
Yeah, there's a couple things. Like when I land, I look up and my coach is like, touch home. My nature, you're wired like, coach, right? Shit, I missed home, so I crawl back and hit home. And I remember looking back at my leg and I was like, oh, fuck. And, because my toe was like pointing at me, and I'm like, well, that ain't right.
It didn't look right. No,
you can, it doesn't look right. There's no way to paint that picture. But, I remember like I got real warm. My leg was vibrating like a tuning fork. And I can vividly take myself to that place and understanding like, okay, fuck, that's not good. What's going to happen? And I think, the defeat doesn't set in yet because you like to that point, you think I'm 24 years old. I'm, arguably in the best shape of my life. I can recover from this. This is just a little setback. That's how your brain's like the initial trigger. And then you go to the hospital, and then it's like, from that point on, there's no good news. It's like bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news. So I went from like, I'll be okay to maybe I won't be okay to, oh shit, maybe I really won't be okay to, oh, all right, now this is a reality. Like I might not play again, and so it's a gradual kind of turn where you got to really understand like, like this just might get taken away from me. And, and understanding that, okay, I had to process that. And, and then this is where my struggle with depression really, kind of came into play. And because, you're identified as this, and now you're not identified as this anymore. Yeah. And you got to think like 24 years old, my entire life, like, listen, I like to think I'm a good looking guy, right? That's what I think. I'm 24, I'm good looking. I played professional sports. Like, dude, my identification with women was that. My identification with being cool was that. My identification with my friends was that. And all that went out the door, exactly. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah. And it doesn't set in an hour. It sets in over 18 months. So you start to lose who you are. Yeah. And you realize, and what I have realized since is that's not the person I was meant to be, because, I was more arrogant than I should have been. I didn't treat people with the respect that I would like to now. And if I go back, those are things I would change. I was always a good guy, and I had fun in the locker room, and I was always team captain, and I did all that stuff. But there's just lessons in life. Like life at that point in time was just about me. It wasn't about anybody else. It was about me. And those are all things that as perspective shifts, and I look at it now and I think of all of the things I'm extremely proud of. It's not that I'm the polar opposite of that person. It's that I removed the things that I didn't like about that person. I had the chance to take a perspective snapshot, make an adjustment, and progress as a human. And so when I say that's one of the best days of my life, obviously it's one of the worst days of my life in the same tune, right? But it's how you look at it. And a lot of guys in sport would say, hey, I could have been a big league baseball player, but here's my video, go watch this, right? And then their life's over, and they just go through life and kind of say that was their excuse. Well, fuck that. I'm not doing that, and I've watched that happen to 100 athletes and thousands of athletes in front of me. And I wasn't going to make that me, and I had to make an adjustment. I had to make a change, and I was going to make sure that I took that as a snapshot of perspective and never fucking made that mistake again. Yeah. Yeah. And that's really, this is why I wanted to take you back to that place. I really appreciate you taking it to that, because even just watching your physiology in there, you're reliving it, right? So I can see that's been the case. So, because so oftentimes you hear someone who has so much potential, and an event happens, and either it's the meaning they put on that event and their experience, and they suddenly go, it unravels them. And you see, as you said, the hundreds of athletes who have gone and they've never rebounded from that, and then others who have used that as a point to go, okay, you know what? What's the gift in this experience, as painful as it is, and how can I use it to move forward? And that's really what I wanted you to speak on, was just
it's obviously an intention. You had to set an intention to go, look, I'm not giving up. I just have to adapt and move in a different direction. And it may not be in the direction I initially thought, but you know what? This isn't define me. This is basically going to strengthen me in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, there's two things there, right?
Yeah.
Life going, just like we were talking about earlier, life is going to serve you shit sandwiches. Like there's no way around it, okay?
Yeah.
You have to learn to identify them as shit sandwiches and understand you're measured, everyone is measured by how they respond to adversity. Everyone.
Yeah.
Every single thing that you do is how you respond to adversity, because it either knocks you the fuck down or you respond in a positive way and move left to right, And so I understood that, like, all right, that was a shit sandwich. I got to get up and move. Like, it's just the nature of the beast. Yeah. The second lesson that I was going to drive to, I forgot because I was talking about the first lesson.
Just let us know if I'm along the way that second lesson.
I promise you it was good.
I'm sure it was.
As well, with the injury, you didn't let that physically define you either. You came back and you ran Ironmans and, did your triathlons. You ran an Ironman, didn't you?
I've done a half.
Half Iron, yeah. But the triathlons, like, you didn't let your physical injury go, that's it, I'm done physically for now. I'm going to sit on the couch and, eat a bag of chips and have hamburgers for the rest of my life.
Listen, I got a lot more in the tank. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't gonna, like, there's no way. I am a experienced person. And I think, part of our culture here at First Form and something that makes us unique is I'm about the suffering. Like, I want to make you physically suffer. And the reason being for me is because the reason I was a good team guy is I understood that the bond of a great locker room or the bond of a great relationship or friendship, it happened through pain and struggle.
Yep.
And some of that's mental struggle, some of it's physical struggle, but it's a struggle sandwich and understanding that, like, okay, man, I want to see what you're made of. Like, and I want to see, do you touch the line or do you quit? Whenever you start cramping, like, do you keep moving or do you bitch out? And so like, I've learned a lot about our staff over the time and understanding, okay, like, who can I count on when it gets tough? Because I know by pushing these people into those uncomfortable zones, things that they wouldn't do by themselves, I can measure their response based off of when I'm next to them, when I'm sweating with them, when I'm pushing on them, when I'm leaning into them. And, just like a forged piece of metal, like that bond happens and that trust is built. And that's why I love struggle. Like, struggle to me is like, give it to me because I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me of the Michael Jordan documentary that's been on Netflix. He wanted the best out of his colleagues, his teammates. And even though they didn't know that they could get there, he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and goes, I can see you've got more. I can see it. You just got to get there. And he just kept pushing. And some of them hate him. But he got the best, and he got them to a different league than they thought they could have ever been in.
I don't think they hated him. I think they respected him, but they didn't fuck with him.
Yeah.
But I find, the Tim Grover, who is Michael Jordan. I mean, he is one of my really good friends. He's my call on the way home. Because
awesome.
I gravitate very similarly. Like, and Tim, we have a very strong mutual respect for one another, but we share a competitive spirit in that regard. Like, listen, I also understand I'm a tad bit crazy, hey, fucking, let's go, but I think that's what life's about, right? Like, life's about living outside the box, and you don't have to be, way the fuck over there, but maybe just a little bit outside the box just to see what you're made of and see how uncomfortable you can be. And I believe as humans, we can do better. And I think that from a philanthropic standpoint. Yeah. And I think that from a social standpoint, and I think that from a physical and mental standpoint, like, dude, you're capable of way more than you think you are, but you'll never know unless you get outside that box.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's just, you smash through your own box of limits. Quite often is the go in there. So, when you talk that, Sal, there's I think going to be two forms of people who are absolutely shit scared of that intensity, but then people who go, yeah, man, I've been waiting for this, and that adversity, that struggle, quite often happens. That's why you hear of teams who go through challenge and they form a bond, they form a strength. There's a unity in adversity in that process that leads to trust, culture, and establishing, an environment where they can go, hey, I can trust who's on my left and right flank. I'm in. And that's really important. So, so we're really acutely aware that you're recording on a Friday night and you want to get to your young family. So if you need to cut short, let us know. But we're in a roll, man. So we respect your time and we're grateful for it. And I just want to let you know. So just you let us know. And hopefully somewhere along the line, you'll remember what that second point was, which is going to be really awesome. So we're just really extending the podcast out just long enough so you can remember to come back and let us know that second point, because we're hanging on it. Now, listen, a couple of things. We definitely would want to find out how First Form's adapted to the pandemic, and specifically, have there been any business model changes that you've had to go about in order to adapt to the circumstances that the world's been going through?
I think that's one of the things that I'm most proud of is our guys and girls here. When the pandemic hit, right? What's cool about our system is we can virtually play our game, and how we teach and talk to people anyway, because, I can't inspire, we have 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 people that actively use we have an app that helps people lose weight. Well,
I use it. Yeah. My transformation. Yeah.
My transformation starts today. It's an app. And we talk to these people digitally, right? Yeah. So I already talked to them digitally. Well, we train our reps. We train them through Zoom. We've been Zooming here at First Form for 2 years. So, when I say it didn't change, our structure changed, but it's because everybody worked from home and we just had to learn to communicate a little differently. We are deemed essential because we sell nutritional supplements, which are foods. So we were able to still work in a corporate environment in small shifts. Typically I'll have 60 guys in a shift packing. And so we had to switch to an environment where we were packing 10 shifts at a time, and we packed 24 hours a day. We rented a new building. We were doing the best we could. I think that's the thing that was really cool to watch. We watched from a leadership standpoint, we adapted and overcame as fast as physically possible. And we changed. We migrated, but we never let off the gas. We didn't leave it as an excuse we're going to get beat. We just looked at it as fuck, we got to go. And in this entire process, we built this in the last 6 months. We built 190, 200,000 square foot building that I was personally building, because construction was still deemed essential in the U.S. as well. And so, I'm trying to manage the pandemic and keeping all the sales online. I'm trying to build this building. I'm trying to keep all our product coming in. It was I tell you what, I didn't have these gray hairs before.
You've earned them.
But I think that's the lesson, right? It's really weird, through all the adverse times in my life, I try to really be cognizant of the reflection of understanding, okay, what did I learn from this situation? How can I insulate myself if something like this happened again? How do I ensure that I not only plug those holes in the boat, but I fixed the holes in the boat, and I didn't just put gum on them, right? Or plug some paper in there, and eventually it's going to start leaking again. I really tried to learn from the lesson. Okay, where do we fail? Where could we get better? And then I try to look from a personal reflection standpoint. Okay, I play this really cool Superman thing on the outside, but where did I struggle?
Yeah.
Where did I struggle mentally? And I can tell you, and this is the God's honest truth. And I'm very, like I was saying in the beginning, you can ask me anything because I don't really care.
Yeah.
I've drank more alcohol in the last 6 months than I have in my entire life. I've been more stressed than I have in the last 6 months of my entire life. I have left my structure, in the last 6 months, because I live in a very structured environment. I believe in structure so that I can keep my buckets in check, if you will. And I realized that I let my wheels come off and I lost my discipline, which I think is one of the best things, one of my best characteristic traits is if I tell you I'm going to do something, it's done. Just consider it done, because I have the black wall goes in my brain. That's it.
Yeah.
And I let off that gas and I reflect back, I'm disappointed in myself. And so I'm regaining that structure and discipline back with myself. So I try to use the struggle and adversity with, okay, how do I get better? How do I develop better as a human? How do I recognize and have the self-awareness to understand, all right, where did I fuck up? Where did I fail?
Yeah.
And, and we did a lot of great things. We as a company have done a lot of great things since March. Our company has gotten better, but I had to figure out where I got worse. And, ultimately that'll make us a better company, because it's easy to say, oh, we kicked ass. It's really hard to say, okay, well, we kicked ass, but what could you do a little bit better?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to really use this time in Q4 for us. I'm trying to really use this time to fix me, to get back in tune with me, and really dedicate that time to becoming a better leader.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because when the pandemic first hit in March, I just got back from Dubai from a work trip, and I'd landed here, and, I was feeling a bit off because in Dubai I had a bit of fun, as you do sometimes on work trips. And then I went into 75 hard for my second round of doing it, and I completed it. And then it finished on my birthday. So the next day I was like, I'm going to drink for my birthday. And then the next day is like, well, I drank yesterday, may as well drink again. And then I dropped off my workout routine. And then it went to 2 months, and then it got to the third month. And now I'm just sitting here going, I was drinking. So as you said, I was drinking so much. I was out of workout routine. So then I'm like, no, I got to get back on that 75 hard challenge. And, it's week 2 for me, but that structure is coming back. That workout's coming back. No alcohol, drinking my water. And I can see that my mind's better. I've already started building my new website, and then I've started building more of a digital platform, working on Instagrams and TikToks and Facebook, and trying to build my digital brand, because I got in a rut, and it happens. We thought the pandemic was going to be 2 months. We thought it was going to be 3 months. Then it blew out to 6 and 7 months. And with our harsh restrictions here, it just started to, mentally play with me. So I relate completely with you. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners do relate to that.
Yeah. Sal, too, I really respect the transparency and the way you shared that, because what it basically highlights is the person and the process. And I think we're on a overarching process is when you're talking to people through your own story, through your own struggles, through your own challenges, you endear them. You'll bring them along with you, and effectively, as you just said, that. So that, to me, that's probably, of all the highlights, and we're still waiting on friggin' number 2, man. That to me is really, I think, is the real endearing part of how you share your message, is that part that you go, hey man, don't look at the outcome, just look at the human and the process that's going through that. And I deal with that each and every day. And listening to your podcast, you all talk about that, and I think that's the authenticity that comes with that. So, and I guess that's probably an element of how you've gone about the pandemic. Get back to that question, was you stayed true to self in terms of, okay, we're going to adapt, but we had to adapt in the platforms that we used. But fundamentally, they were still true to self. You go, hey, listen, I'm basically a person who's driven by nature. How can I use this scenario? I'm not going to go by fear. I'm going to go by intention. And you just brought it in a different platform. So that's really what I was just, I guess, summarizing. For anybody listening, you just want to go, okay, here's the conversation. You can get lost in the conversation, but where's the gold in those points? What are the things that if you apply them to your life, it's going to make your life extraordinary? So that's really what we're looking at. So
I think there's a 2 here, right? And this is
this the 2? Is this the 2, or is this another 2 extra ones?
This is a substitute. Okay. But it'll suffice if I don't forget it between now and then.
Okay.
I think, I understand my role. Yeah. And my role is for my people, okay? Whether it's my personal friends on Instagram, or our employees here at First Form, or the people that I help in the My Transformation Challenge, like the world, however, as the platform grows. I understand that through adversity, tough times call on tough people, right? And I know that when shit hits the fucking fan, somebody's got to lead. And I've always found myself to really like that role. Yeah. And I've always found myself to understand that you can only earn that role through letting them know that, like, I'm struggling too, but here's what I know, right? And I think when the pandemic hit, or very, very relatable to a weight loss journey, right? Okay, I'm fucking scared too. Okay, but scared ain't gonna get us where we need to go. Like, and I remember, like, I sat in front of my staff and I told them, I said, listen, I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I promise you this, we're gonna win. Like, we will fucking win. That I can guarantee you. But I didn't sit up there, I know what's gonna happen, and I know all these things. I don't know that. I'm scared just like you. But we're in the woods. I got a flashlight. You grab a shovel. You grab some whatever the fuck you can, and let's go. And in that time, like, you can create great bonds with people through leadership and not understanding, like, hey man, like I put my underwear on the same fucking way you do. That's if you wear underwear, right? But in the grand scheme of things, like that vulnerability creates a trust. Like, because in my younger years, right? Maybe this is point two. My arrogance would want me to be out in front because I was feeding my ego. And telling me, oh, we're going to be good. I'm going to be great. It's like, no. I was scared shitless. And what I've realized through life is like that trust factor is built through the understanding, like, hey man, I'm scared just like you, but I'll go first. You know what I mean? Like, I got no shoot at me. I'm out there in front. Like, come with me. And that skill, is it's very much needed in tough times. And I think honestly, your leadership in Australia, our leadership here in the United States, it doesn't possess that skill. And I think that's where a lot of the unrest and bullshit comes from. It's like everybody wants to be right when nobody really fucking knows. But we do know some things. Instead of like checking your ego and letting go of like, oh, maybe I'm wrong. They want to fucking win the argument when the only thing that's losing right now is us. And so just try to take that time to become a better leader through vulnerability.
So that's a podcast episode in itself, and that was worthy of a point substitute number 2, no question as well. So we'll pay that one. So I just want to shift a gear and really, we talked about leadership and your role specifically with your organization and your team, but you got a young family, right? Your dad to Enzo and twin daughters, is it Francesca and Isabella?
Yes, sir.
And I know the value and the richness that I have in my family. So I'm really, really grateful to that, how much they bring in there. And the thing that I'd really love you to talk about, if you could, is finding that harmony between work and home. Not balance, because I don't believe, in my opinion, balance is like, it's just how do you find harmony? How do you actually integrate all of them and still make your beautiful little girls and son and wife feel like they're still the most important people in the world, while you've still got competing priorities with all the family in your work environment?
Yeah, I actually, this is probably the question that I get the most. In fact, we're starting a new segment on our podcast, and it's just going to be little bitty clips of, kind of tips or value adds. And this is actually one of them in the grand scheme of what I would say that I'm experienced in, because I've struggled a lot in this area, right? The balance is an unattainable thing. Okay? And I think, a lot of the, I don't want to say unsuccessful, but the do-gooders, we call them in the States, like, they're like, oh, you need to find balance. And I'm like, you're like, what the fuck is balance? Because
that's why I said it. Okay. That's just doesn't apply, right?
I can't find my shoes. I'm going to go to work. And understanding, like, for me, I had to learn to prioritize what was most important for me. And then I had to attack that. And I found through doing that, I have found my version of balance, which is maybe different from everybody else. And with family, I realized that there's 3 or 4 things in my life that are extremely important, me being one. And they always say, like, the lion eats first and all these stupid ass sayings you see on the internet. But the truth is like, from a mental health perspective, like, I understand that I'm best if I take care of me first, and then I can take care of everybody else. And the best analogy I have for this is, on an airplane, they tell you to put your own oxygen mask on first, right? And then take care of everybody else. But for me, that thing has always been, the staple for me has always been fitness. It's always been sweat. It's always been exercise. And it's always been that earned confidence that I know I put in the work. And so it allows me that reflection. And so for me, what I do is I structure my day around the things that I like. And fitness is one. I wake up every day between 5 and 5:30. I walk my fat ass down to my gym. I listen to podcasts. I turn on the Fox Business. I meditate. I do whatever I want. You know what I mean? Like, if I want to read in that time, I do it. But typically I'm walking, or I'm doing some type of fitness. I'm sweating in some way, but I'm usually by myself. And that's the only time that I have throughout the day that I'm actually me and I'm by myself. And I get to reflect, and I talk to myself. As weird as that sounds, I send myself mental notes that I put in my phone. I try to create the positive vibe in my head, because a lot of times, like, I try to work through the negative things early so that I can address all my problems, so that I can move forward positive. So from 5 to 7 a.m., that's my time. Nobody fucks with my time. That's my time. From 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., I'm dad. I'm fucking dad, man. Like, I brought those kids into the world. It's my responsibility to be the best I can. I watch cartoons, I cook them breakfast, I change diapers, I paint my nails. I don't give a shit. That's their time. Whatever they want to do, I'm in. You want to race outside? You want to drive go? I don't care. Like from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. I'm dad. At 9:01, when I walk out that fucking door, I'm on the phone. Like I hammer. Like I am regimented as shit. Like if you saw my schedule, it's every 15 minutes. I go. And some people say, "Oh, busy leaders don't do shit." And I'm like, "Well, listen, I don't know any other way to do it. Life to me is competing. Business is competing. And I look at it as 9:01, fucking the gun goes off. I'm ready to rock." My guys and girls know this about me. Like I don't eat lunch in the lunchroom. Like I eat lunch usually at my desk, or I'm in a meeting, or I'm moving. I'm constantly going throughout the day because business is important to me. You know, like I love business. Like I'm not going to give up business for my family. I'm not going to give up family for my business. So I got to do both things. So I schedule business, but I don't let people rob that time either. I don't play golf during the middle of the day. I don't go to baseball games. I don't go outside for business meetings. If you're going to meet with me, you're meeting right here so that I can stay on track. And I've learned to be very selfish with that business time because I love business, right? I leave about 5:30 typically. And, you know, I get home at 6 o'clock. At 6:01, if you're on the phone with me, it's 6:01 and I'm walking in that door, I'll tell them like, "Hey, listen, I got to go." And I'll just hang up with my guys and they understand, like, because from 6 to 8:30, I'm dad. I'm back in, babe. Paint my nails. We're going to take showers. We're going to have dinner. We're going to, you know, do whatever we got to do to be dad. Mow the grass, fuck around with them. At 8:30, we put him to bed. At 8:31, I try to get my wife to, you know, we get a little sexy time. At 8:32, sexy time's over.
Yeah, staying power there, Sal. That's awesome. You're an endurance athlete.
That's right. All the Iron Man work. So from 8:30 to 10, I'm husband.
Yeah.
That's the only time that we really get to experience us, which is really the greatest, you know, like that's what we all, it started with us. And it's actually, part of it's a shame. Like, you know, you used to have all this time together. And I've now learned why relationships fail, because you fall out of love because you don't spend any time together. And my wife is very important to me. And so, you know, that other bucket is my relationship. And so I schedule that bucket in. And so she drives, man, at night. I don't care. Like, you want to watch gossip TV shows, you want to get naked, I don't care. Whatever you want to do between 8:30 and 10, that's yours. Yeah. And I try to stay extremely regimented to those time schedules because those are the buckets that are important to me. Those are the things that are important to me. And those are the things that I'm going to keep in the forefront. Yeah. And everything outside of that to me is noise. Yeah. I don't play softball with my friends anymore. I just don't. And some people are like, "Oh, you need to hang out with your friends." I did a lot of shit with my friends early. And when my kids are of age, I will enter that back into my life. Right now, this is what's most important to me. And I'm going to kick fucking ass while I'm doing it.
Yeah. And thank you. That's really cool, because the keys are, obviously you've identified the most important things and you've kept the most important things the most important things. How you've done that is, you said, you've created boundaries that honor you, your kids, your roles, your family, and your work. So that's a great way of coordinating. You're going, okay, I've just got to maintain the disciplines around the most important things and let go of the things that aren't in those most important buckets, because, as you said, it's either noise or they're wish things, but they're not really the things that fuel and inspire you at the deepest level. So that's a great takeaway for anybody listening.
COVID taught me one thing.
Yeah.
That I don't like going to events on Saturday night with random people and random shit. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I like being able to say, "Hey, listen, I can't make it." You know, COVID, you know. But yes, I mean, to your point, like I've learned to be extremely selfish, and I've learned that that's okay. You know, I'm a giver by nature, and that was really dismantled that before kids, because I wanted to help everybody. Man, when the warehouse guys would move, I'd go help them move. I'd drive the truck. I'd carry the bed. I would do all the fucking things that I didn't. It's not that I didn't want to do them. It's just I actually like doing them. It's just now I have to prioritize what's most important to me. Otherwise, I'm going to lose what's most important to me. Yeah,
yeah. And you know, so knowing that and knowing that you've carved out time in your schedule to talk to us from the other side of the world when you don't know us, we're really grateful. I just wanted to, you know, just let you know how moved we are by that, and how much we respect that. So we've wanted to make sure that this was not going to just be a shoot the breeze kind of podcast. It was like, if you're going to listen to this podcast, you want to take the gold out of this, and you want to take it out from a guy who's carved out time for us. And so heartfelt thanks, man. I really, really appreciate that. And I know Adam and I, we're just absolutely really honored that you'd said yes, because you could have well and easily said no. Let's be honest.
I think this is one of those times where when you give, you get. And Adam has supported the charity of my charity, which is extremely important to me.
Yeah.
And from all the way across the globe.
Yeah.
And in return, you know, this is something like I actually don't do many podcasts anymore because, you know, you again, right?
Yeah.
But he invested in me and I'm going to reinvest back in him. And so understanding like that's my ethos, right? Like you want to get it. So,
that's how we roll as well. So, but it was I just wanted to acknowledge that because it's not been taken for granted, and it's like it's truly we're truly humbled by that. So,
well, I want to add to that story. I was in South Korea at the time last year. I don't know if you remember this, Sal. Like it was maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, South Korea. So back home in Melbourne, it was like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So no one I knew was awake. So I shot off Sal a text, a DM, and just like, hey, you know, like you talk about your core values and all this stuff. How do you go when someone asks you to do something, especially when you're away on a work trip? And I was having like a little mental, shut down. And he came and he was just like, no, this is how I would approach it. And this is what I did. I was like, wow, this guy, again, took such time he doesn't know me from anything. So he took time and gave me this advice. And I really appreciated that. And I was trying to donate to his fund earlier, but then I was like, you know what? This is it. I'm putting my foot down. This is what I'm going to donate now. And we did that. And it was because he takes the time to love everyone. And through the pandemic as well, again, he is a very humble guy. Through the pandemic, each day when restaurants were going through a lot of crap, they would donate $1,000 to a different local restaurant to make sure that they kept their doors open and they kept their staff employed. And that goes through the My Transformation app that we mentioned earlier. You know, they run these 8-week challenges that they give a boatload of money. So it's not, Sal went over him making lots of money and how First Form went from 1 to 5 to 20 to, hundreds, but they give back to the community. And that's the reason I believe they're so successful, is because they're constantly wanting to do more than what they give. And I'm reading a book at the moment, where is it? Somewhere over here. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
And the more I know about Sal, the more I'm reading this book, I'm like, I understand why there's this formula for success and why successful people like Jim as well can keep moving forward. And, he's very humble now. It's good to see him being humble, but I know him as a bit more arrogant on his stories. So if you want to get a bit more spice and, jump on his stories. And he was talking about regret this morning, and that really resonated with me as well. So it's been a cool journey with Sal, and I do, again, appreciate you coming on the podcast.
I appreciate you guys having us. So Adam, just so you can unpack this in your head, I get between, 50 to 250 DMs a day that I answer.
Yeah.
Not including text messages and all those other things. Like I can even show you this and you'll laugh. Like, but I have 514 voicemails. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But not only do I remember the situation in which you texted me or messaged me, and I can remember what I sent you back and saying that it was your fault, that you made the decision. Ultimately, you can say whatever you want, but it's your fault. The person looks back in the mirror. So I remember it, but I think that comes down to, like, you got to learn to invest in people and care about them. Like, he asked me a question in regards to some, personal things that he has. And he said, hey, what are your thoughts? And I said, hey man, the thought is like, if you didn't want him to step in those boundaries, then you got to draw those boundaries.
Yeah.
And, so that's kind of my point, is like,
I
learn to care. It would have been really easy for me to be like, hey man, sorry, I can't help you. And in my brain, I put myself in a situation and I'm like, all right, what, whose fault is this?
And the next day I drew the line from your advice. I drew the line, and the boss that I was with, he used to actually work at J&J before. So I was telling him about you, and I drew the line, and he goes, oh, all right. And he was physically moved back. And then he had to listen to music for about 20 minutes after I told him, because I don't think he's used to getting that feedback. And then after that, he's taken me on more trips than I've been on before in my life. and around more of the world. And he got that respect, as you said. So I want to say thank you, because you helped again advance me in my consulting, chefing career, but as well as this business of the manufacturing. So really appreciative.
Of course.
Yeah. So now,
no, I don't want this to turn into a love fest.
No. What it can. There's nothing wrong with that, actually. So what I was going to say is that we could ask you, keep going for hours. We know we are not able to, but I'd really love probably perhaps the last question we ask you was along the lines of legacy and along the lines of contribution, which Adam's touched on already, which is really helpful. But First Form started a non-profit organisation called 30 for the Kids, and it really focuses on positively impacting children and families in, I think it's Haiti and North St. Louis, in providing access to food, clean water, education and medicine. So could you tell us a little bit about that and what the catalyst was in forming this in the first place?
Yeah, man. You want to talk about?
Well, mate, we're respecting your time, and I've got to bring it in. And it's like, okay, now. And it's like, oh, shit, man, you've just opened up a whole Pandora's box.
Yeah,
But what is it? This is part of your legacy, right? I really get the sense this is important too. So tell us about that.
It's, it's something that really makes me tick, and understanding that, we've been blessed with a really unbelievable opportunity to do what we do. And we've been successful, and it's cool, right? Like, and you're young, you make money and you do all these things, you fly around private jets and do all the blah, 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 blah. And you think, oh, okay, it's cool. But you start to realize, man, like, we were gifted this opportunity. We had good parents. We were put in a good situation. We've done, we were raised correctly, but we had to access the basic shit. Like, we didn't grow up with, I didn't get the newest tennis shoes, and I didn't get, I didn't have that type of stuff. But I never struggled for water. I never had a problem getting to school. My parents knew the difference between right and wrong, sunshine, in that sense. And we started 30 for the Kids as an inner city Christmas program because we understood the kids didn't receive Christmas. And then it spawned into supporting Haiti. A friend of mine brought me on a trip. It's my wife. Give me 1 second. Heading home in a minute.
That's the balance.
These random Aussies are just basically talking to me.
Podcast, bring the kids down. It's always the beauty, right? I can bring the kids down to work, and it's kind of like built-in babysitting because I got just
love it.
Working right now.
So you went over to Haiti for the first time.
Yeah, and my friend Kyle ran this orphanage in Haiti, and he always asked me to go, and I'd be like, I'm busy, and I couldn't go. And the truth of the matter is building a business, I couldn't go. And something told me to go. And I remember, man, like going to Haiti, and I was thinking, why the fuck am I going to Haiti? And for those of you who don't know, Haiti's one of the poorest countries in the world. I think it is the poorest country in the world.
Mm.
And I went, and I remember getting off the plane. I remember thinking, holy shit, what did I sign up for? I mean, you got to think like, man, I don't know if you guys have ever been to these types of regions of the world. Yeah. A lot of people say, oh, I go to Asia. And I mean, like when you go to Haiti, like they have no commerce, right? So they don't have jobs. There's no jobs. And you don't have markets on the streets. They have nothing to sell. And, and I remember thinking like, why am I here? And we went to the orphanage, and my friend who played professional baseball, he's done well, and he's got this big smile on his face, like he's home. And I'm sitting there thinking like, man, there ain't nothing about this place that's cool. Yeah. And he's touring I stick my stuff in my room, and we're touring the facility, and we walk down the street, and we walk into the hospital that they built. And there's these two little kids, and they were playing in the street, and they were playing with a motorcycle tire and a stick. They had these slides on. They had underwear and a t-shirt. T-shirt had 50 holes in it. And I remember just like looking at this kid, and I had like an emotional connection, like looking at him. He's smiling, I'm smiling. He's probably thinking, what the hell is this guy smiling at me for? And I remember it, like at that moment, I can visually click it in my brain. And I thought, man, I'm fucked up. My brain's out of whack. I'm worried. My priorities are in the wrong spot. Here's a little kid who is having the time of his life with him and his buddy running up and down the street with an old used motorcycle tire with a stick, smiling, and they were enjoying life with the most simple things. And he didn't have basic needs. He didn't have water. He likely hasn't eaten in, probably most likely at least a few days. And he was enjoying life. And I remember that, like, at that moment, like, I had such a great feeling of appreciation, but I also had such a great feeling of disgust. Like, I can do more. Like, I can do more for this world. And at that moment, I'm like, I'm kind of deriving things, and I'm like, all right, I believe that in all good business situations, everybody wins. And so we came up with a program here where, okay, well, how can everybody win here? And so we developed 30 for the Kids, which is you do 30 minutes of fitness for $30 for 30 days. And, in this situation, we can raise money and it helps the business, right? Because we're raising money and we're able to fill our philanthropic bucket. We're able to donate the money to the kids. 100% of the money makes its way to the kids. And the kids win in that situation because, somebody's championing for them. And the person who's donating the money wins because they're making health a priority. And so the idea is, like, we try to take fitness is bigger than just you. And this is another built-in lever that creates accountability in 30 days so that you can not only do fitness for yourself, but you're doing it for a child in need. And so we've developed this movement over the last couple of years, and it's done extremely well. We've been able to not only fund the orphanage in Haiti for the last 4 years, we've been able to expand the orphanage in Haiti, build out buildings, programs, schools. We've also taken money and put it into systems here in St. Louis for the kids in inner city. Now, with all the sex trafficking going on that's coming out inside the United States, and I guess all over the world, we're choosing to make a portion of those investments or those donations to go towards a local sex trafficking house where they help the young girls kind of get mentally, physically rehabbed and healed. And so, the reason kids is because we always believe, like, kids get the short end of the stick, and they're born into a situation. They have no control over what their parents do, or if they're born in Haiti or if they're born in Beverly Hills. Like, you don't have that choice. And somebody's got a champion for them. And I always learned in a shitty situation, like, why not it be us? So, when you look at legacy, if you will, those kids may never know my name. My little buddy Marco, he sits right here. He sits in my office just like one of my kids. He'll remember my name because I'm going to make sure that that's taken care of, and not from a money standpoint, from an education opportunity, progression of life standpoint, because I feel that kid changed my life. He's changed. He doesn't even know it. That one interaction.
Yeah.
That one interaction he has no control over, just a smile, has completely changed this entire development around, not only in the orphanage, outside the orphanage, the hospital, the development school, the professional school, where, like, we built homes and water systems. One smile. He doesn't have a clue, not a clue. And so, that's special to me. And I, using your platform for good, and to Adam's point is, like, if I believe in you're going to give to get, and why not make it a worthy cause and something that makes me feel good? Like, everybody wins in this situation, and maybe it's selfish, maybe it's not. I don't care, because the kids win.
Yeah, look, that's really beautiful. That's really awesome. Just to articulate that, and you're right. The power of one moment can change a life, and sometimes it's not the way you think. It's like that kid smiles, and it takes you to a place in there. So,
just want to touch on it quickly. There's also an accountability in the 30 for Kids. You can miss your workout. You just got to pay your money on top. You pay your $5 penalty every day that you miss your workouts.
Yeah.
And it keeps you accountable, because people don't want to lose that extra $5. But at the end of the day, it's going to a great cause. Yeah. And as Sal said, kids are innocent. We should look after them and enhance them. They're the only charities that I do. We've got a children's hospital that runs every Good Friday here in Melbourne. So I always donate to that. But I believe that kids are innocent. And as Sal said again, they're just born there. They don't have any say on it. And none of us do when we're born.
Yeah. So we're really grateful for everything that you've brought to this podcast, the gold and the wisdom. Brendan Bouchard quite often says, the journey of life is to live, to love, to learn, to leave a legacy. And when I transpose that over our podcast, there's touch points all along the way. that you're doing, and you've been sharing, and you've been articulating in your own authentic way. And I think that endears you to your audience, and we're really grateful you made time for us. Now, if people would like to connect with you specifically, Sal, and find out more about First Form and what you do, the range of products, services you offer, how would they do that?
Well, in Australia, you can buy through Massive Joe's, but or First Form if you're trying to buy a product. From a personal standpoint, I'm on the good old Instagram at Mr. Frisella. That's MRFRISELLA. When will this thing air? This week? Next week?
2 weeks, I think. It's about 2 weeks.
Okay. Well,
the 5th of October.
5th of October.
Your 4th of October.
Yeah.
If you're re-listening to this later on, down the line, maybe not the 5th of October, but say like the 20th of October, you can reach me at salfrisella.com. But for the meantime, Instagram's probably.
Well, have we got a scoop, Sal? Have we got a scoop?
I put it out, so here's the scoop.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, mate. We'll hold it onto our hats until we get out. So, final comments, and then we'll let you get to your beautiful family. Anything you want to leave us with specifically, and anything you would just want to finish off with?
I think, one, I want to say thank you for having me on the podcast. I love doing it. I love the human interaction, meet new people, build a network, right? I think, if I could leave the audience with the two, life is a journey. And I think when you look back and you look through the chapters of your life, you got to learn to understand that, there's always a lesson. And through the shitty days of the storms and the sunny days on the beach, like there's always an opportunity to get better. There's always an opportunity to build perspective. And when you can see life through that lens, you can create a great deal of positivity and understanding that life is a gift. And we all owe it to ourselves to be the best version of ourselves. And that's not having the perfect body. That's not making the most money. It's taking the opportunity that you have of each and every day, which is a gift, and make the most of it. And I've learned through my journey that helping other people is what fills me up, is what fills my bucket. And I would challenge you, and I think the world could use a little bit more of this right now, to go out and not make today about you, but go make today about somebody else, and go make it about making somebody else smile today, and helping somebody with whatever skill you have. Gift that skill to someone else and create that positive momentum. And I think when you start to inhibit that in a daily action of your life, you'll start to see that the world will give you exactly what you put in it. If you want to put positive vibes into it, the world can return that. If you want to be negative Nancy, or you want to be a drama queen, the world seems to give that back to you. And so understanding that you control the narrative, you control the chapters of your book, and you can have the best life that you possibly could ever dream of, but only if you choose to chase it.
Now, what a great way to finish off. Thank you so much. And Adam, final comments from you before we let Sal go?
I just want to say thank you, Sal. Really appreciate you coming on board. And, he has one of the biggest podcasts in the world. So, this podcast is quite different probably for him. So we really appreciate him coming and, getting through it and giving us all this gold. So Thank you. That's all I got for a closeout. His words were way too good.
Yeah, no, and for me, Sal, thank you so much. Your message, your intensity, your enthusiasm, your passion, your drive, all packaged together in your own authentic way is really what endears you to your audience. And we're really grateful you made some time and carved out some time to share with us and our audience. So I want to thank you for being on the show. And I just want to thank our listeners today for being listening to this podcast episode. This is gold. This will be one you want to re-listen to again and again to take the wisdom out of. Just a reminder that you can connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and our extended Launch and Beyond community on these channels. Now, if you've got any questions or comments about the podcast or anything in particular you want support with, please reach out. You've seen with Sal, you don't know what that random question can lead to, and then the opportunities that may open up, but then also your ability to help and impact someone on the other side of the world can be. It has such a massive ripple effect and much greater than you ever realised. If you're enjoying our podcast and find value in it, we'd be really grateful if you go over to iTunes and leave us a review. That'll allow us to build a larger audience and help more people. So for me, Sal, thank you very much. Adam, thank you very much. It's goodbye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Appreciate you guys.